In a couple weeks, on Sunday, the second Sunday in May, we will celebrate, many of us, Mother's Day. An opportunity for us to say thank you to those women who gave us life in so many ways. It's an opportunity for us to make phone calls, to send cards and flowers, or if we're closer, to visit, to say thank you, to be grateful for what they have done for us. Many of them the sacrifices they have made in so many ways for us. But I invite you to think about Mother's Day a little broader this year, and to do it with your children, or maybe your grandchildren if you have them. And to think about not only your mother and grandmothers as being life-giving for you, but to think about those other women in your life who have nurtured you, who have been those spiritual mothers for you. Now, here is my mom, many years ago in front of the family farm where my grandfather grew up in rural Massachusetts. But when I think about other mothers in my life, the women that at different stages were there for me, that loved me exactly as I was, made me feel like I belonged, made me feel special, and encouraged me to grow into the man that they saw I could become far before I could. I think about Anne. Anne was one of my mother's best friends. And she had 6 children, 5 of them were boys, and many of them around my age. And she treated me as one of her own. In fact, she even referred to me a number of times as the 6th son. I was always included in their family activities. When I was older, I went and I worked on their house. I felt included and loved and valued by this woman and her husband too. To this day, she's now in her 80s. Not a birthday or Christmas or Easter or my ordination goes by without her remembering. The second woman I think about, her name was Hilda. At this point I was in my 30s. And I was involved in a Franciscan parish in Hartford, and Hilda was the parish council president. Now Hilda never had any children of her own. She was a college professor who taught early childhood education, and her specialty was helping people to learn how to use children's literature, to bring the language alive for kids, to make kids use their imagination. And Hilda helped me so much to grow into a leader. She was the parish council president and I was the vice president. And she helped me in so many ways to handle difficult situations and show me how to do it with a gentleness and a kindness. And she would talk to me and talk me through situations. And from watching her and how she handled people with grace. And this is a woman who knew suffering. She lost her husband, who she loved very dearly, nursed him through 8 heart attacks, I think. And then, little by little, she lost, through diabetes, bits of her feet. And yet she never lost her sense of humor. And when I preached at her funeral, 10 years ago now, the church was packed of people that she had mentored and nurtured, her spiritual children who just loved her because she had helped them to grow into the adults, into the teachers, into the men and women of church life that they had become. And the last one is a woman who is very much a part of my life still. Her name is Jean. And Jean is my partner on the mission trips that we do. We've been overseas now 13 times. And she helps me and so many members of the group by the way that she listens to people and their concerns. Because for many of them, they're going overseas for the first time, and we build houses with Habitat. But she walks with people. She listens to their concerns. She shares hope and other people's experiences, how they grew into it. And the folks always do. But she's that safe container for people's fears. and she's great. When I feel frustrated or I feel bothered by something, I sit down with Jean, and just by the sharing of it, I feel better. And she always has something to share, but she waits until I unload to show me where the hope is. But these are three women who have been my mothers. They have loved me, they have nurtured me, helped me to grow. And that's what each step of our life is about. It's about finding people like that in our community, in our body of Christ, that help us to grow. So the exercise I invite you to do is to do just what I've done, but do it with your children and your grandchildren. To tell them a story about a woman or a couple of women who, especially when you were a kid, got you through a rough time, loved you exactly as you were, helped you to grow and to learn something about the world or about yourself. Maybe it was a teacher or a coach, or maybe like Anne, it was a friend of your parents or a godparent. Some adult who helped you to see the world differently, to feel differently, to feel loved and valued. When you get done sharing who've been the spiritual mothers in your life, ask your kids who in their short life has filled that role. Who's been the person who has nurtured them? Who has been that safe space? And then, each one of you, to your special spiritual mother, write out a card and send it to that person. Now, if the person has passed on, maybe take the letter and put it in a special place with the picture of that person as you get ready for Mother's Day, and be reminded of what they have done in your life, what they have meant to you and your growth as a person. But send out the other ones so that for Mother's Day, this person knows what a difference they have made in this world. This person knows that they have touched lives, and they have made this world a better place by nurturing a young person. Because when we do that, we develop in ourselves a sense of appreciation for what has been given to us, and we share gratitude for that. And we develop those same things in our children. We help them to grow, to be more grateful, and to think of themselves as being blessed. And more importantly, by sharing our stories of how God has moved in our lives, we can help them to develop this sight that God too is moving in theirs. And so their faith becomes for them a faith that is alive. They can see God's fingers more clearly in their life. It gets them through the tough times in their life, what we call the cross, because they know that God is there somewhere. And that God will get them through it, through the people that God places in our lives. May you have a blessed Mother's Day.